Hey everyone, how's it going? The They're wrapping up the last stream, so I just went ahead and went live, and I'll wait till some people get here before I actually start talking about anything. But I just went ahead and went live because it seemed like he kind of was, he had went through the material and he was trying to wrap it up, but finished a few minutes early. So I said, hey, I'm ready to go if you want to cut out. Not trying to step on anyone's toes. I thought I was maybe doing him a favor, is why I did. But to those of you that have already made it here, Merry Christmas. I'm waiting on Azho and Jenni Morgan to join us. And the topic I picked was mental health, but I'm not really, I'm going to talk a lot about that, but if it goes somewhere else, it goes somewhere else. I'm not like trying to do a big presentation on it or anything. I'm just wanted to talk about mental health around the holidays. I think it's important, and I think there's a lot to it. I need headphones or I won't be able to hear anyone. Can you hear me good? Well, anyway, as we wait for the other people to join us, for those of you that are familiar to my channel, this won't be news to you, but I had some issues with the monetization deal, and specifically, they wanted a copy of my ID, and it was expired, and they didn't like that, so I had to wait for a new ID, and it takes forever to get it in the mail, and I'm just waiting on them to fix it now, though, so it's everything will be fixed. But let's see here. I went ahead and started streaming before the end of the last show, and coming up after me is What the Beck with Holiday Bash. That's linked in the description. And oh, why is it doing that? There's Azho. What's up?
Not much. I said you look like Ember, except without no dress.
Well, I can go get one if you want.
Oh, please.
It is Christmas after all, right?
I ain't kissing your mistletoe, though.
Yeah.
I think I'm still your girl. I've never met her.
It's a Christmas in Kentucky. You never know what the hell's going to happen.
We'll just act like we're cousins.
Yeah. It's like Joe Dirt. You are my sister. You're my sister. You're my sister.
Yeah, but she was hot. Oh, my God.
Yeah. Jamie Presley was hot back then.
Yeah, she still is. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, to me, she's more classy now. Like when she was on Mom.
I agree. She's hot in a different way now.
Right.
I agree with you. And we'll just wrap up on objectifying women right there.
Oh no, we're gonna do it all night long. Now it's Margaret Kidder or whatever.
Margot Robbie.
Yeah, there you go. Sorry,
I already knew where it was going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she's a classic beauty now.
She is
the whole Harlequin Quinn thing going on.
Yes, She is a beautiful woman, but also, I mean, is she not just a badass? She's in some of
She
the
is.
baddest movies, The Wolf of Wall Street,
Yeah, I was
Harley
gonna say
Quinn,
that.
Suicide Squad. Well, Suicide Squad was okay, so I guess I don't know.
But she made it worth watching. Her and Will Smith, in my opinion.
So now
And even
that
the second one, she was it.
looks like everybody's coming in here.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and get going a little bit here. Should I play this? Let's go ahead and play it.
Play it, Squirrel.
Hey, everybody, and welcome. I am the Kentucky Atheist here with Azho64, as usual, for our Sunday stream. But today's Sunday stream is extra special as we got to be part of the Christmas marathon. So those of you that are coming in as, just seeing me as the next show and are tuning in, thanks so much for coming. I think everybody knows where the like and subscribe buttons are if you feel the need to click them. If you don't like it, click the dislike button. I'm cool with that too. Gives me feedback on what I'm doing right and wrong. As for everything else, my links are in the description. The channel isn't monetized. I do have Patreon, but that's, it's all there. The channel will be back to monetized here very soon. I'm hoping before the first of the year. It should definitely be, if not, early next week. Hey, what's up, mate?
Hello. For pop in since you had the stream link up there.
Yeah. You're welcome. Jenni Morgan is supposed to join us too. I don't know, and anybody else can that wants to come in, as long as I'm able to keep the stream up. Anybody's welcome that wants to come in and talk or whatever. But anyhow, I had picked a topic for today and was going to talk about mental health around the holidays, and specifically how some mental health issues relate to being an atheist, and some of how they just relate to everyone. That is what I'd picked to talk about today, but I don't really care. I mean, it's Christmas, and whatever everybody wants to talk about is what we'll talk about.
Mental health is a good topic.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah, well, so you may not know this about me. I'm a recovering drug addict. I've been in recovery for 8 years now, and so mental health kind of is something that's close to me. I had to go through a lot of hours of sitting and telling other people my business and things, and I'm kind of fond of it. At first I wasn't, but how it relates to that though, it did its job, I guess. Like I said, I've been clean for 8 years, so something's working.
Congratulations.
But well, thank you.
And now I'll kick his ass if he gets off the wagon.
Hi, Robin. Thanks for joining me. And Mage. We're
hey, Robin, Mage.
Are you working today, Robin? Must be.
She got herself muted, by the way, Robin.
Must be. I didn't mute her, so she.
Yeah.
She's probably busy. That's what I'm saying. She's muted because she's probably busy at the moment. Not to interrupt. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh no, you're fine.
I have my own mental health issues. I actually deal with a rather severe anxiety problem, and going onto these live streams is actually my way of trying to deal with it as a part of exposure therapy.
Oh sure, right. Yeah.
And for me, the whole mental health thing. I mean, that's dear to my heart for years. I was diagnosed being bipolar. My son's ADHD and ADD and a few other things. So that's always been important to me. And what kind of, I don't mean need as in, wonderful, but for me, it's kind of like my connections with, like, say, the trans community, because I know there's a lot of mental health issues, in that, in itself, so, especially the holidays, I've always hated. And for some reason, it might be because of the stream. And I want to thank Purple for this stream. I've always hated, Christmas time. I lost my grandmother years and years ago, It's not one of those awe moments, but you know, it was it's always, you know, kind of held over. But this year, I mean, my mom got me a puppy that I didn't want, but I wanted. You know, I'm not by any means.
That's
And if he
my
happens
puppy.
to jump up, I'm sorry, and I'll mute and have to try to control him. But being able to be around people today and even tomorrow, you know, meeting new people like yourself, Madge. I've seen you around. I've never actually talked to you. You know, Jenni, I've seen her. You know, so it's like this is kick ass, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then to share it also with the people we know.
Let's swivel that into saying hi to Jenni, and thanks for joining us. Hey, what's up, Jenni?
Hello, Jenni.
Oh, I'm all right. I guess nothing's really going on except wondering why how I could be 10 minutes late.
Well,
we started early.
Yeah, I started early.
Oh, okay. Well, that explains it then. Thanks.
He had kind of wrapped up his thing, and it seemed like he, you know, 2 different times he said, "Well, there's 15 minutes left," and he was just reading comments. So I was like, "Well, if you want me to go, I will." I said, "I'll go ahead and go live. That way we can go ahead and pass on." And because 2 hours for me is a short stream, and I'm used to, you know, live streaming here lately anyway.
Yeah, I always plan content for a certain amount of time, and I usually almost always fall short for some reason.
Yeah.
I haven't quite got that. I haven't quite got that worked out yet.
Yeah,
I probably should.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say I should apologize to Jenni because every time I seen the name Jenni, my Forrest Gump kicks in, and I'm being serious. That's even in my real life. I've got a lot of friends that are named Jenni, and I always do the whole Jenni thing. So.
Oh, that's all right.
I'm sorry in advance, Jenni.
I don't mind. Do what you got to do.
Okay. And it's nice to meet you too, by the way.
Jenni, I wasn't really familiar with you, but you've got quite a following yourself, don't you? Don't you make content on TikTok, Jenni? I'm not. If you're talking, I'm not hearing.
I think she's having problems because like she's flickering and muting.
Problem. Jenni does stuff on her phone, so
why did we lose? Okay. All right. Yeah. Well,
I hope I don't lose her because I want to get to know her.
Yeah, I don't have the links for your channel, but I will be more than happy to post them in the description here when I do get them.
Where's PC when you need her?
Robin said she'll be with us in a minute. But yeah, so anyway, like mental health. Hey Nora, how's it going? Hi Maya. Hi Beck. Hi Stephanie. Glad to have you here, Stephanie. And yeah, thanks to Purple for working on this. I really appreciate even just being part of, you know, something going on with other creators and stuff. That's a fun time. I've looked forward to this. And again, as we talk about mental health, this is something that is good for my mental health because this is a big part of what I do as a social life. You know, I spend, even though I'm only live on Sundays, I spend a lot of time through the week talking to different people and things in the atheist community and getting together what I want to talk about and things. And although very rarely do I stay on that topic, but you know, it's good to have, you know, like-minded people to hang out with around the holidays, and especially going for 48 hours like this to you know, there's always somebody on to go watch or talk to or whatever you want. And I think that's a wonderful thing this time of year.
Yeah, especially these past few years with the COVID and everything. I mean, it's been pretty lonely Christmases.
Yeah. Christmas. I have 2 kids, so Christmas is usually about the same every year. There's Christmas morning, which is hours of opening presents, and then the cleanup and putting everything together and finding batteries for everything. So
all the fun stuff.
yeah. Christmas has, you know, since I had kids, Christmas has been pretty much that. But you know, I find, you know, I love Christmas for the kids. I I hate the wrapping presents. I hate trying to drive anywhere. I won't go in. Well, I don't go in Walmart anyway, but I wouldn't go in Walmart this time of year, no matter how much you pay me. Fuck that place. They can fuck right off.
I was there last night. Good call.
I don't care what deals they have. I avoid stores altogether on Black Friday.
Yeah. I go and record the fights in the parking lot. But you know, that's I don't know. I was kind of early to the whole buying and selling stuff online and all that. So I mean, I would rather just order things from places. I really,
yeah, same here.
I mean, I try not to interact with many people around here. Honestly, it's that type of thing. I'm in a deeply religious part of a deeply religious state and a deeply religious part of the country.
Yeah.
So
I'm even further down in Florida. So.
Yeah.
What part of Florida? I was raised down there.
Oh, I'm off of the coast. It was the Gulf Coast around in Venice.
Wow. Okay. So I was just raised north of there, like the Sarasota, Bradenton area. And before we moved to Indiana, it was Anna Maria Island. I loved it.
Yeah, I know the Sarasota area pretty well.
Yeah, it's a lot different now, but yeah, back then I loved it. So we're ex-neighbors.
Yeah.
Was Florida psychotic in those days?
A lot of blue hairs. And what's funny, the year we moved up here was the first time it snowed down there. And I'm not even talking about inches. It's like, a covering.
That was a long time ago.
Well, see, we moved up here in 77. I went back to live with my sperm donor in my junior year, like in 81. And I haven't been back since. But even in that short amount of time, everything was so different with, like progress and buildings. And I just didn't enjoy it. A lot of blue hairs, that's for sure.
It's built up even more now.
Yeah. Yes, it's on my bucket list to visit Sarasota. When, like I was saying earlier, my grandmother had a stroke about Christmas time, and then she passed away. Well, they found out she had terminal cancer and only gave her 3 to 6 months to live, and she ended up living like 4 more years. And she happened to pass, Christmas time. So I've never been able to go visit her grave because she didn't want me to see her deteriorate. Which back then I didn't understand it, but now going through a cancer battle myself, which is minor compared to everybody else, I understand it. So I love her even more, even though I haven't, she hasn't been around for 40 years.
Yeah.
Did you see my private message, Joe, or did you already do it?
Oh no, let me go look.
I put it in StreamYard private chat. I'm thinking just in case, because Robin's here, I'm here, you're here.
Hello.
Oh,
Can you hear me?
How you doing?
Hello, Robin.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm hauling milk today, but I wanted to stop in for just a minute and tell everybody to remember that the actual tilt is the reason for the season. And
yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Hope everybody has a Merry Christmas, Merry Yule, Happy Saturnalia, whatever you do, Happy Hanukkah, whatever. Just glad this stream is here for people. This is good, and I'm going to enjoy it while I'm driving. Huh?
You work tomorrow?
Do what? No, I'm off tomorrow. See, I only work every other day. My job, So I actually am off tomorrow, and then of course it'll work out to where I work next year on Christmas Day. It flip flops back and forth every year. So
you'll hit the lottery before then, so you're good.
I don't even play the lottery.
See, Jesus answers prayers. Okay,
I don't have much of a chance of winning it. I don't. No, I don't figure I'm going to win the lottery.
Oh wait. Are we going to turn into another Is Die Hard a Christmas movie or not? I'll settle this right now. It is a Christmas movie.
Yes,
it most definitely is a Christmas movie.
Like that, I can even argue
that
with
was
that.
Early this morning, they were having that debate. It's like, if it wasn't for Christmas, they wouldn't be in the building at that time.
Yep.
And
as I mentioned,
what's Die Hard?
It's a movie.
It's a Bruce Willis movie from the 80s.
It's a movie franchise. There's like what 4 or 5 of them.
Oh yeah, there's more than that.
The
Now
TV series.
the point where his son is in one, and then I think there was another one after that one. So there's like 5 or 6 of them, I believe.
Yeah, and
I like Frosty the Snowman. Yeah.
And as I mentioned, and his wife was named Holly.
Holly, yeah.
To make it more in line with Christmas, and that's actually very intentional. Well, they did that because it was the books that was based off of. If it was actually, I believe, it was daughter that he was saving, not his wife. So they actually intentionally changed that to make it more Christmas.
Yeah, and I've never even thought of that. I mean, I've seen the movie, probably 5 times, give or take, and I've never, put 2 and 2 together. It's like her name is Holly. It's Christmas, and it's like God, you learn something every minute. Even at 59, I learned something today.
If you want
the Star Wars Christmas special,
yes,
I love it.
No,
oh,
no, don't remind me.
Wait, no, nobody's seen the Star Wars Christmas special. That doesn't exist, right?
Right, yeah.
Stir, whip, stir.
Kind of like Jesus, fallacy.
Hey, y'all, I'm gonna check out. I'm gonna eat me some lunch real quick and then get down to the milk plant. I'll be listening. So if you got anything you want to say to me or about me,
Robin, and if you want to drop back in, the drill.
Well, I'll be riding down the road. I don't. But everybody have a good holiday and just.
You too, Robin. Merry
Be
Christmas.
safe, Carl. And I know you'll be on and off all day today because this stream's going. I mean, not ours, but everybody else.
Yeah. I'm gonna be listening all day. Are you gonna like revert? Are you gonna be able to send us to the next one, Ka?
Yeah. The link for what
Next
the
is next
in the description, and
okay.
I will.
See, it's a lot easier for me if they just automatically send us because I'm driving, so I have a hard time.
I don't think I can do that. If I can, I will.
I'm sure somebody can walk me through it, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
yeah.
A little fun fact on the whole Star Wars Christmas special. It was the first appearance of Boba Fett.
All right. Yes. Yeah. You must be a Star Wars nerd like me, huh?
Yeah, I'm just like pop culture in general.
Well, yeah, me too. I'm actually a bigger Star Trek fan than I am Star Wars.
Yeah, same
but
here.
I love Star Wars too.
I was more of a Star Trek fan though. Well, the newer stuff is just.
Yeah. Yeah. They took out what made it cool, like for action.
Is it okay if I block Al because he's starting with the dad jokes again?
I think we should just block Al anyway.
Yeah, he'll break out in song or lyrics. So.
Have you heard him sing?
Oh my God! Yeah, but the lyrics make it worth having to grudge through his singing.
I'm just joking. I love.
And what's sad is I wouldn't trade it even if somebody else sang it because it's like Al, just part of the mystique of the lyrics, and I love it.
If you're not familiar with Al Trucker, go subscribe to his channel. He's awesome.
He's a mother trucker, all right. Like
Al,
Robin.
Al, let me ask you a question. Is a hot dog is that a sandwich or not?
That's my question.
Oh, good point. That's another debate.
That was my question. He asked me that same question, and I responded back with, "Well, is it a sandwich?"
I don't care because it doesn't last long enough for me to debate it. I just eat it.
Yeah. Carbs and processed meat. Yum, yum.
Hey, Kyle.
Processed, okay, but meat? Come on, be honest.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Processed bones.
It's like calling spam meat.
Hey, spam is one of the food groups in Kentucky.
Spam is actually meat. Spam stands for spiced ham. And it is a genuine meat product. It's no different than sausage.
Hey, people in Hawaii love the shit.
My dad
Hawaii single-handedly keeps the spam business in business.
Oh, I cannot stand the smell of like spam cooking. And it's not just spam. Before I got a tumor and I was triggering like sickness and blockages and like anything greasy or kind of like bologna or spam smelling when it cooks triggers nausea for me. So I stay away from it. But I used to eat the hell out of it. But ever since I can't smell it, I can't stand it.
Yeah. I understand. The smell of The smell of frying spam makes me hungry. Yeah.
Yeah, it used to make me hungry, but not anymore.
How about corned beef hash? You guys familiar with that?
Oh, I
stuff?
love it.
Oh, that's
My kids
wonderful.
for New Year's every year.
And not a big fan.
Yeah. I didn't like it.
That
when
was
I
an
was
acquired taste. I'd have to admit on that too.
How can you not like corned beef hash?
When I was young, it wasn't because of the flavor. It was the consistency. I had some weird stuff with that when I was younger. I couldn't eat a lot of things because of the mouthfeel of it. It would make me gag.
Well, it's not the weirdest thing I've ever eaten.
Yeah,
I understand. Mock chicken legs make me gag badly.
yeah. I couldn't eat potato. I couldn't eat potatoes hardly at all, any of them, and that was really the thing of it. I heard Stephanie earlier talking about mush. That brought back some
grits.
People, yeah, a lot of people aren't familiar with mush. Grits are great. That's one thing in Kentucky. I mean, if you can't tell by the looks of me, we got some good food.
Well,
we
that's
may have a bunch of fucking crazy young Earth creationists, but there's some good food here too.
That's the problem I have with living in Indiana. Being raised in the South, grits here are nothing like they are down there. Even though they're all right here, I can eat them. But I tell them, I said, this ain't grits. This is, whatever it is, but it ain't grits. You'll know when you have real grits, just like collard greens.
Yeah. The collard greens, that's a big staple. That's
What's the big secret about collard greens?
Either you cook them right or you don't.
Yeah,
There's no in between.
The secret to cooking good collard greens is bacon grease, I think.
Time and patience.
Yeah. But,
I always thought collard greens were actually kudzu that they just chopped up finely.
Collard greens they kind of look like, have you seen like how they put kale dressing on your plate to make it look pretty?
Uh-huh.
Collard greens kind of look like that when they're growing, and then you chop off the stalks and you just boil them down and reduce them down into
They're just
mush.
another brassica.
Yeah.
But one of the same family as basically the same plant as broccoli.
Right. Yeah. They're and I would even say that they have closer to a taste of like maybe a broccoli or something than spinach really does.
Yeah, kind of in between broccoli and spinach. I can see that.
Yeah. Spinach turns into more of a goopy thing when you cook it down, and kale tends to hold up a little better too. So, or not kale, but collard greens or kale. Kale's the same thing pretty much. But we just don't eat kale because it doesn't taste as good. It's more bitter.
Something's got my doggy all upset. I don't know why.
We do eat kale, just not the same kale. There's different kales. Let's not get into vegetables.
She's all shaking and upset for some reason. I don't know why.
Your dog's upset?
Yeah, I don't know why. She is just this way sometimes.
Yeah.
She came over here and she's got herself up against me and like pets.
Yeah, my dog, the new pup mom got me, is laying right behind me with his paw almost around me. It's kind of sweet looking, but
this is her first Christmas with me. I got her there just this year.
Good.
Wow. Yeah, this puppy is first week with me. I don't know. I should unblur it. But you see behind me? His paw's right here.
and maybe she was smart enough to not chew on Santa Claus. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't want him.
I got kids. They chew up everything. I don't need a dog.
Yeah, he does. But yeah, I didn't want another dog per se because I've only had one in my life, and when he died, I think I'm a badass at times. But yeah, to be honest, I haven't been able to bring myself to buying one. And Mom's worried that after she leaves, I'm not going to have anybody.
Yeah,
but I got a cat, But
this is only my second.
Now
dog
you see, look where his paw is now.
Oh yeah,
right here, right in front of me.
Yeah, this is only my second dog I've ever had, and prior to her, I had a cockatiel who died a couple of years ago. That was really hard or because I got her short. I got that cockatiel shortly after my mom passed away. So that was doubly bring all that back.
Right. Sorry,
what you did, Az.
Huh?
Kentucky, I have developed a problem here. I am losing my battery. I can't believe it.
Well, if you need to drop out or whatever, that's cool. And if you want to come back, you can. It's it's up to you. I've left this open for whoever. But
I've got about 6 more hours I have to do today, so I have to charge the battery so I can succeed at that. Or it's going to go flat.
I understand completely.
Have at it, girl.
Right. Yeah. See you guys later.
Yeah, thanks for dropping in.
Love you, chat. You're huge today. Well,
yeah, I've never heard that.
You're always kind of huge, actually. I'm, pretty tight. Well, never mind. Okay, bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
I'm in here. I can't stay clean.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, see, I grew up. I had a Cocker Spaniel, and my grandparents had a parrot that cussed up a storm.
Yeah, and I do have another parrot as a sun conure. His name is Duncan.
Oh, nice. Parrots are cool. They're neat animals.
I also have chickens.
Oh yeah,
yep.
A lot of people raise chickens around here, so I don't know. I don't like chickens much.
They're pretty easy to take care of, and
I like eating them, but they're.
What better? I got a chicken that lays breakfast and poops fertilizer.
Yeah, no, that's true. There's due to all the chicken poop in the air in certain places, histoplasmosis is like a thing around here. People get it often from the bacteria from the poop, but that's just anything in extremes is going to be not as good as moderation, of course. So, and I know people that have thousands of chickens.
Yeah, we're only allowed to have 4, and you can't have any roosters in this area.
Now, where I live, you can't even have the chickens. Let me explain. So Kentucky is a mostly rural area, but I live like right on the outskirts of like the 4th or 5th biggest city, which is still only like, I think there's like 20,000 people in Ashland. I live right on the outskirts of it, but I'm right within city limits, so I can't have animals. But like literally 5 minutes down the road, there's farms, beef farms, everything, So it's just consequence of living here.
Yeah, it was only in the past 5 years or so that they started allowing have chickens in the urban areas.
Yeah. I think I actually remember whenever they did that. Kentucky is a great place for bluegrass music. Yes, it is.
Oh yeah, I love it.
I love some bluegrass music. I'm actually trying to get a bluegrass band to work on my intro music for me. If anybody cares. I'm working on trying to put together a little bit better intro than that little 10-second clip you've seen at the beginning, and I want to get either some rock music or some bluegrass music, and bluegrass is going to be easier for me to get somebody to do for me, I think. I worked at the garden center, and one of my jobs was to bag up the chook poo. That was fun. I really hate summer today.
Oh, God.
Yeah, not fun. That
just ruined Christmas for me. Thanks.
There are so many different kinds of poop to clean up in Kentucky, and none of them are fun when it's hot.
Oh my God!
You get.
I'm gonna turn my camera off because this dog is rolling over.
Get close to a big pile of shit in the summer and feel the heat coming off of it.
Yeah,
I still see you, Jack. Oh,
here I didn't want to talk about vegetables, but we're talking about piles of shit. So let's move on from that. Speaking of which, no.
Hey, Dave. Oh no.
No, I was actually going to say something about. Well, I'll make a video about it this week. We'll just.
I want to say hi to Dave, but it's like the worst timing. But oh well. All hell Bigfoot.
Dave, yeah, there's Dave. What's up,
yeah, he
Dave?
just popped in.
All hell Bigfoot. Liquid manure, yeah, that shit stinks.
Yeah, we're farmers, so yeah, I'm used to animals and poop. And we used to have a 400 head veal barn years ago. That was fun. I loved working with them, but
yeah,
you get up at 4 o'clock in the morning before school to go feed 400 head of calves.
Well, as you saw my last channel, I do gardening, so
yeah. I didn't realize that you were the same person as the previous presenter. I didn't realize that. I mean, I'm sorry for not knowing that.
It's okay.
I just didn't know. I honestly, I mean, and I imagine it's this way for a lot of people, but whenever I first started creating videos and stuff, then I met a whole lot of people that I hadn't discovered yet. And you know, I'm glad of that though, because I think that you know, I really like a lot of the newer creators and stuff. Nothing against anybody else. I mean, you know, but I like new perspectives, you know.
Yeah, originally I was actually going to keep the Gardens Happen and this separate. But everybody already knew me as Mage Grey Wolf, and I got in there. I had the Master Gardener introduce me like, "This is Mage Grey Wolf's new gardening channel." Like, well, okay, so much for keeping them separate.
Yeah. If I would have seen the name Mage, I would have known because we've talked before in chat and stuff.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, because you know, because on the gardening channel, I try and keep away from religion and politics as much as possible. Under this, I'm completely opened.
Yeah, right. You know,
wouldn't politics help fertilize your vegetables and your fruit in the garden? Just saying.
And I see. I've had to do a lot of gardening and stuff. I mean, growing up, we had a garden every year, and it was my job to work in it, and so I mean, you know, gardening's a cool thing. I never was on so much of a big, you know, farm like producing corn or something like that. I used to work for the guys cutting tobacco and hanging it and stuff. I did that. That's the closest I did to working on any kind of farm out here. But
well, you know, farm, garden. The only real difference is the
I got
money.
paid $2.50 an hour to put up hay. That sucks.
Wow, I don't miss the heydays.
No.
I didn't. No pun intended.
No.
Yeah, God. And then putting it in the silo. Gosh, the barn. Oh.
Yeah.
I'm already sweating thinking about it in the middle of summer. Oy.
But I mean, you know, hunting and fishing and things like that I got to do in Kentucky that other people don't get to do were awesome. You know, like, you know, I'm comfortable in the woods. I'm, you know, I can handle a gun. You know, so there were some cool parts to that.
The only technical difference between a farm and a garden is the for-profit. If you can make at least $1,000 running in your garden or farm, it's a farm, according to the government. Even if you don't make that money, if you're at a loss. So let's say you had a single plant growing, and you can make $1,000 off of that one plant. You have a farm.
I see. Well, I've had some farms in my time, man.
I should have called them underdog door. More like tank.
My farms didn't grow vegetables though. We grew something else.
Something better than vegetables, we'll say. Yeah.
Hey, but again, you can learn a lot from that. Like, you know, I learned a lot of botany stuff that I wouldn't know otherwise, and
Yeah.
I can set up hydroponics. And,
Well, if
I
they
know
ever
how
made
to.
it, yeah, if they ever made it legal here, I'd definitely grow it.
Yeah, I know how to grow mushrooms and all sorts of things I wouldn't have learned otherwise. So
I
you know,
gotta admit, I gotta get into doing mushrooms, not the kind of that you take to look at pretty colors, but the time that you eat for
oh
food.
sure, and what I was actually getting at is like, yeah, I've grown the magic variety, but learning how to grow mushrooms and stuff, man, you can grow. There's some mushrooms out there that some expensive mushrooms too that you can grow really really cheap, and it's super simple. As long as you can have a sterile, yes, being clean about it is the biggest issue with mushrooms, because
Yeah,
any kind of bacteria or anything will completely
Yeah.
destroy all of them. But once you get the mycelia going, it's real easy.
because you don't want any other kind of mold growing in there.
Yeah, well, now the way that I grow mushrooms is I make a mycelia substrate. So um, I take my spores and actually inject them into rice or something that the mycelial will grow on good. There's actually substrates you can use instead of rice, but rice works. I have to say rice instead of rice, like I would say it here, because nobody will know what the hell I'm talking about. But rice will work. But they have substrates too, and they have substrate bags that you can inject. But you let
Interesting.
the mycelial grow on it, and you can see, because it'll look like it's all molded up. It'll have like a white stuff growing all over it. Sometimes it'll turn a little bit yellow. If it starts turning yellow, though, you're letting it go too long. But anyway, then you can take that and you just mix it with your regular substrate. Just put it in there, and as long as you've got a good sterile area, cover it, keep it out of the light for a while. You'll have mushrooms growing in no time. It's pretty easy once you understand the basics. But yeah, I love. I've grown mushrooms you can eat too. They're good. Mushroom hunting is a big thing around here.
No, for morels,
morel.
it is around here
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, morels. They're popular here.
Heck, they've got people around here selling them for like $50 a pound.
They're expensive.
Yep.
They're so good though. Morels and truffles, and some of those are your more expensive ones. Certain types of truffle can cost lots and lots of money. They're hard to come by. Beck grew up in the sticks too. Yeah, it's it has its ups and downs. I wouldn't trade it for live. I've lived in some cities too, but I like where I'm at now, being right on the edge of town, so I'm not down in the midst of everybody, but I'm not so far out that it costs $10 in gas to get to town. So that's a good thing. But yeah, again, here in Kentucky we have good food. But anyway, so let's kind of shift back to some mental health issues and stuff. So just for anybody watching, this whole thing is the marathon is a place for people to go and watch content, have a good time with it. But also people struggle this time of year, and we have the community with the chat and the creators both, and you can really interact with them. And so that's there to help a lot of people. But if you're still struggling or whatever, I've put some links for stuff in the description. You can also call, what is it, 881 or 988? It's 881, I think.
That's all I'm just trying to look for. I can't remember.
888. There's a number in the description that you can call or chat if you want to talk to somebody. And if you're really struggling, and I mean, I don't even care, reach out to me. I'll give you my number. You can call and talk to me. But don't sit and be sad around Christmas time if that's something that can help it, because there's lots of people out there that don't want to see you sad, and you do matter to us. So definitely.
And even all year round, not just Christmas, but Christmas is worse. That's for sure. For some.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't care who you are, whether you're a Christian or a Muslim or you know what. If you want to talk to me and you think that'll help you get through something or help your mental health, talk to me, and I'll talk to anybody. But one of the things that, because okay, so let me just start from the pre-beginning. So like if you look in Psychology Today and stuff, which is one of the leading psychology journals, people who are religious, you know, benefit from it mentally, mental health wise, because they form communities and things, and they have lots of other people to hang out with and everything during the holidays, and not everybody has that type of thing, and so it's you know, if you have to believe in all kinds of crazy lies and things that you know aren't true and stuff like that to have a community, I'm not so sure if that community is worth it. It's not to me, but you know, having stuff like this so that we can talk in our own groups and things is a great thing. And oh, what's up, Daniel? But these psychologists that go around and tell atheists that they need to believe in God in order to get better from mental health problems is a lie. And anyone that does that, if you give me their information, I will turn them into FFRF. But you can go to FFRF and report people that do things like that, because it's unethical. And I've been told by several that if I believed in God, I wouldn't have the problems I have, and that me being on drugs was a character flaw and all kinds of things. So, you know, I know that those people are out there, and I've heard stories from lots of people just on atheist channels of this happening. So don't put up with that shit. You don't have to say anything to them directly, but you should definitely report anyone that's doing that, because it's harmful. It's a lie and it's harmful. That being said, you know, people who turn to drugs and stuff, especially this time of year, are more often than not medicating themselves because of other issues they don't want to deal with, whether it be family or their own emotional issues or whatever. And just be careful. I don't care what kind of drugs you do. I could give a shit less. But just be careful. Don't kill yourself for Christmas. Like, you know, be careful. And maybe try talking to somebody. But you know, I care about humans, and we're all humans, and I don't want to see anybody end up accidentally offing themselves because, you know, they were having emotional trouble around Christmas and medicated themselves with drugs. Just about every holiday, one of my friends dies. So, you know, get help, please. But outside of that, I think that more focused towards the atheist community, though, I think that we've built a real nice community on YouTube, and events like this that allow everybody to come together and talk about things and hang out and stuff are great for a number of reasons. And that's whether you're a theist or not. Daniel, he's a theist. He's here. He's being a smart ass, but he's here.
And he's just pissed because we got better cookies. I don't care what he says.
Well, I found out why my dog was upset. She actually she had an X on the floor.
Probably because you haven't put her on the stream. At least now my dog's feet have been in the stream and keeping Dor entertained with feet.
That's strange though. I don't usually walk her for another hour. So
Can
Oh, you're upside down.
does anyone want to tell me when I go to hand off to Beck? Is there a way to send everybody there from here, or do they just need the link?
just put the
Because
link
I
there.
thought you had. Yeah,
Just
I'll
pin the
post the
link.
link in the chat whenever we
Yeah.
get closer. I just
You
just
also
in
put-
case there was something I didn't know there that I could do.
Yeah.
I know that I can do that, like if we're streaming from the same stuff, or like if I'm going to another channel to stream, I can do it that way. But I didn't think I could do it just by.
And if you have the links in the description, you can just send people that way too.
Okay, so I've got the link in the description, and I will post it in the
Maya
chat
said
too.
you had to hit 1K to be able to rate on YouTube.
Oh, I see. Well,
And Daniel, it's okay for you to say ass. Remember, Jesus rode one. Allegedly.
allegedly, yeah. One of Daniel's friends, one of his acquaintances, someone that I met because of Daniel on Twitter, was telling me, was arguing with me and said, you don't take the eyewitness accounts of the Gospels as fact, and I'm like, no, who does? But I mean, if I believed all that stuff was fact, then I wouldn't be an atheist, would I? But won't go down that road. I've got a video on the resurrection if you want to go watch it. But the Daniel comes here with a bunch of atheists and talks, and when he doesn't have to, and I appreciate Daniel for doing that, even if I don't agree with some of his stuff, But so,
Robin,
Daniel,
if you're a parent, you can't live without cussing. It just goes hands in hand.
Yeah, no doubt. Apparently, Daniel's kids don't have Legos.
Oh no, that's just a sin. I'm sorry.
And obviously, Daniel's never stubbed his toe at 3:00 in the morning trying to go to the bathroom and back.
You step on one of them Legos at 3:00 in the morning on the way to the bathroom, or make up new cuss words and shit. But yeah. Anyway, I'm so glad to see we've got 25, according to StreamYard anyway, I've got 25 people here now watching. Thanks for coming, everybody. If you like my channel and want to see more, like and subscribe. Thanks to Purple for doing this again. And I'm so happy to see a group of people here supporting the whole marathon thing. Every channel I've went to today, since early this morning that's been streaming, has had a pretty good group of people in chat, all having a good time. I haven't got to see any drama yet. I could cause some, but I'm not going to. Speaking of 1,000 subscribers, we're getting there. As we're at 613, something like that. Let's go see here. 618.
JJ, I use all politicians as cuss words. Because earlier, after I got done going to the bathroom, I wiped my Michael Johnson. Just saying.
Mike Johnson. Hey, Mike Johnson's Noah. Did everybody catch that? He said that God told him he was Noah. Well, that's not what he said, but that's what he was kind of saying. He's interesting. I'll tell you what the clip is about that I'm going to talk about later in another show. The Donald Trump came and talked about that he's going to have the DOJ punish people who speak out against religion and are prejudiced against religion, and it was all a ploy just to get Catholics to vote for him. He said, Catholics, you can't vote for the Democrats. But, he I'm going to go over that clip at a different time. But
yeah, it is funny how Exians don't think Catholics are Christian until they need the Catholics' vote.
right.
Or as I say, the Catlickers.
Yeah. Yeah. The Catholics, and that's one of the things they don't like, for the most part, Catholics and Mormons get a bad rap from Christianity, which, deservedly so, I guess. But whenever you take those away, Christianity is no longer even close to being the most popular religion in the world. So you guys best keep those. You need them right now.
How do you lay that way, dog? This is going to be for Door. He's sleeping there with his paw straight up in the air. I don't know if you can see it with it blurred out.
Oh, and you've only had him a week?
Well, since Tuesday night, not even a week.
That's right. That's fantastic then. He's that comfortable.
Yeah.
Well, what's amazing is, not to get sidetracked, but he's a rescue dog, and I don't think he was physically abused, but he was real skittish. And, of course, he was raised with, I guess, 4 Chihuahuas. So that's enough in itself to drive you nuts. And within like an hour or two of him being here, he was on the couch with me with his paws in the air, exposed his belly, and that's only they only do that when they trust you.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I've never had a woman do that, but the dog will do it. Great.
Really?
I bet that big
I meant
dog was
to trust
bullied by
her,
those
by the way.
Chihuahuas. Yeah, I bet those Chihuahuas bullied that dog.
Yeah. Oh, he is a sweetheart. The cat don't like him. They're starting to get better, but
Chihuahuas are
he's not so much a real energetic puppy. I'm thinking he's still getting used to it. He doesn't like the car yet either. He drools. I mean, like a faucet.
Yeah,
he'll grow that, I hope.
Yeah. Mine was a little nervous about the car first too, and I got her used to it every time I put her in the car, I take her to someplace fun. And that after about a week or two, she started getting like, oh, okay, this is gonna be a good thing.
Yeah, I read. What do they say? They say if it's real bad, just sit them in the car for 5, 10, 15 minutes, for a couple of days, and then the next day start the car up, but bring a toy so they can relate to being a fun activity, like you said.
Yeah.
And just work your way up. But most dogs grow out of it, so I'm not really so worried about that. But I live with my mom to help take care of her. And when Dad had his double lung transplant, and before he passed, he made me promise that I'd stay and take care of her, sort of thing. But she's got an older pit bull. And I mean, he's the sweetest thing too. And it took him a little bit to get used to the first night. Well, probably the first full day that he was here. He didn't like him, was growling at him. Now they're playing buddies, and we got 2 acres, and I just let the puppy run because that puppy will not leave the dog's side. And then every time I say, hey, Chewy, where's the puppy? He'll go track him down just to make sure he's all right. So it worked out good.
Yeah, mine here. She came from a family. There were other dogs and other animals, had kids in the family. Apparently the big reason why they got rid of her was partly due to the lease. They apparently had too many animals, so they had to pick one. And she also had a herniated intestine, like the intestine was twisted.
Oh yeah.
Like you mentioned, the vet bill for that was probably a factor as well. She wasn't spayed and neutered yet either, so they did that at the Humane Society before I got her. So
Mommy, I said the same thing, and here I am with another one 20 years later. So poor puppies.
Yeah. And then about the first week, they gave me some anxiety meds to give her, because at night she'd start walking around the house whimpering, looking for her old family.
Yeah. And just for anybody that's going to complain about us talking about dogs, we never said that it was human mental health that we were going to talk about the whole time. I'm kidding.
Yeah. That's true. These feeling dogs do have mental health issues.
And that's another thing. For mental health is, if you don't have a pet of some sort, I would totally recommend, especially if you're feeling lonely, at least a cat. But even though I'm not much of a cat person, my last 2 marriages, I ended up getting a cat somehow. And I just spaced them out long enough where the first one had passed away, and I got left with the other one. But with all my surgeries and stuff, I wouldn't have been able to make it through it without either one of my cats.
Yeah,
when I got one. But...
yeah, cats just kind of show up. I mean, that's how cats are.
Yeah. What'd you say the last part, Az?
I was talking to the dog. I said, "Are you comfortable?" Because he's just flipping and flopping, and now he's got his head on my table where I keep my computer, and I think he's humping my pillow. I hope not, but
yeah, for about the first month, she wouldn't go up onto the furniture. I'm guessing she wasn't really allowed on the chairs in her old house, but after she kind of figured out that she was allowed up on the couch and the chairs, he usually sleeps up there now.
Poor dog. Well, if he's out, good. Yeah, I figured he'd be up running around. That's what I was afraid of in the middle of the stream, especially if he happened to see the cat or she got too close, because when he sleeps, she'll try to sneak up and sit on my lap. And my cat is actually a dog. Before I moved in with my parents, she chased off my neighbor's Rottweiler, and this dog is big. I'm thinking, okay, the dog's a wuss. Well, and to this day, Mom's Pit will not come in my room because of the cat. And then he's really mad now that the puppy's in here, and the puppy's braver than he is, because he'll just bark at her.
Yeah. This is something Tsunami posted that should be said while we're talking about this subject. People need to spay and neuter their pets, because when they don't, they get out and produce litters that end up needing rescued, and now they have taken over my apartment.
Yeah.
So
even if they don't reproduce, it reduces the risk of even both cats and dogs with cancer issues. When I brought a little guy in here the other day for his checkup, just to see, that he was okay and healthy to get all his shots again. It's first thing he asked me is, am I going to get him fixed? And I said, yeah, I just got to get brave enough to do it. Because I had a question. My question was, do you knock him out first? Because I will not. Like with the pit bull, I'm glad Mom didn't get him cut. His ears or his tail clipped, because most of the time they do that when they're wide awake. And I just think that's cruel as hell. I mean, I'm not.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they do knock him out for the surgery.
Yeah.
Usually.
Well, then with a cone, I'm not sure how this puppy's going to do with a cone on his head for 10 to 14 days.
Well, actually, it's not going to bite his nuts. That's for sure.
Actually, mine didn't have a cone. They did the internal stitching, so they didn't need a cone.
Oh, well, yeah, that's what my vet said that they'll knock him out and then he'll wear a cone, because I had that question.
Well, we can also do
about the internal,
suit. Yeah, what you can also do is get it like a donut. It's much more comfortable for them. It makes it easier to eat.
I might have to check into that. Yeah, because my Mom's Pit, we had to bring him in because we worried that he had cancer. It ended up just being some, cysts, but they still had to open them up, remove some of them. And he had a cone on, and he was miserable. And I took the cone off after about 5 days. He was supposed to go 10 days, and he never messed with his stitches. But, he just looked miserable. He didn't want to eat. It's hard to eat or drink with that cone on even. So, So I get to go through that with him.
I had to wear one of those after my last surgery.
Well, why? Because you're licking nuts off? They removed them or what?
Well, every time I try to lick my nuts, I fall off the couch.
Well,
I did too. I hit my head off the table and gave myself a concussion.
Yeah, they're in the private. They're in the private chat. Is a link to one of them that I just quickly pulled up from Amazon that you can search around, pick out one you like.
Here, I'll give
just give an idea of what you're looking at. Looking for.
Yeah, I didn't know they had those. They just there's the cone or nothing.
Yeah, but those are much more comfortable for the dog. It's easier for them to eat.
If you type something real quick in the public chat, I will make you a mod so you can post a link for other people if they're interested too, if you want. It's up to you.
No, I don't need to be a mod.
Yo, you need to stick your tongue out. Robin wants to see if you're a good boy. Oh, no wonder you fell off the couch. You got a yucky tongue. Quit licking yourself.
What are you talking about? My tongue's clean. I just brushed that bitch.
Oh,
I haven't even ate anything since. I smoked some weed, but that doesn't hurt your tongue. It just makes it not be there anymore. I'm just joking.
Yeah, Robin said, no way that thing reached.
Yeah,
that right,
no,
Tim?
no, hung like a field mouse.
Well, it's better than me. I'm a fruit fly or a horse fly.
Yeah,
When I say
yeah.
fruit fly, it's even smaller. God, that's even getting worse. I'm gonna make
I was
myself
thinking
cry.
TK. I was gonna say it was a cock.
Die Hard, Daniel. We've had that discussion today. I was thinking TK was going
Yeah,
to
Daniel,
say.
don't be trying to stir up shit talking about Die Hard, Daniel. I'm just messing with you, Daniel.
No, he just asked what your favorite Christmas movie is, and I can still highlight people's names to do that. I think.
I used
See,
to watch the
Daniel.
whole Die Hard series.
I am converting to
Christmas.
Daniel's religion with that answer. Oh, it hasn't popped up yet. Come on. Oh, here it is.
Daniel's converting people now. Is that what's going on?
I can do it. Wait.
My favorite Christmas movie, as we've already talked about, is the Star Wars Christmas special. That's and no,
I don't think I've ever
think
seen
it's
that.
the best Christmas movie. That's not what I'm saying. I just think it's my favorite because I have a nostalgia thing with it, and Star Wars is cool. And there's a lot of things that come from that Star Wars Christmas special that people don't realize, you know. But well, what was Carrie Fisher? She sings in it and stuff, and she was strung out on coke the worst in her life during that. You could tell she's about 80 pounds.
Man, this string went downhill quick to R-rated.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she was.
I missed Dora's comment.
She's a woman that doesn't usually weigh that, and she was all strung out on coke. And
Oh,
that's
yeah.
true. It's like, you know, her and Mark Hamill were both kind of known for their partying back in the day, and she.
Well, I think with Carrie Fisher, it was genetic because her mom was also an addict.
Yeah, there can be. Well, I ain't gonna get into addiction, but you know,
there can be genetic factors.
Yeah, there can be genetic factors that predispose you to be more likely to become addicted to not only, you know, different chemicals and things, but just that addictive.
No, Dor, we went down because you started off with your foot fetish with the dog.
That's actually why I avoided drinking alcohol for quite a long time until I was in at least my mid-20s because I had alcoholism on both sides of my family.
Yeah. The you can you're more susceptible to become physically dependent on those things whenever you have a family history of it, and plus you a lot of times you've experienced how those family members cope and things and kind of normalized it for yourself, so it makes it you know, you say, oh hell, I'm fine. Uncle Bob used to pass out and piss on himself every night. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, but or maybe you don't know.
Oh, my mom did just about every drug you can think of, so you know, she never fully recovered either. So
yeah,
I do know it's.
Yeah, I spent a big chunk of my life on drugs. I started using drugs when I was a teenager, a young teenager, and like 13, 14. I had smoked pot back when I was like 11 or something, and been drunk a couple times by then. But I started like regularly smoking weed and taking pills and those things, and for a long time I just smoked weed, and had I stuck with that, that would have been cool. But I just due to the nature of being a teenager, you know, I came across other stuff and liked it a lot, and ended up addicted to pain pills, and then things start going downhill a little faster with the introduction of Oxycontin. And so I was strung out on that, and then eventually, which led to heroin, which I've done heroin and meth and all that stuff. Like the only thing I've never tried is PCP and peyote. I've never tried it, but
well, it's not. I'm not addicted. I can stop right after this next one.
yeah, it's
true story. Donut pink.
Jordan, off my bed. Smoke the devil's lettuce. Well, I'd never. Actually, I tried it when it became legal, but no effect. Major bummer. Yeah. Get you an edible and try that. Especially if you've never experienced it, because that'll be a more mellow, like chilled out. Don't eat a whole one.
That is cool.
But don't even take drug advice from me. But anyhow, I ended up strung out on heroin, and which led to several bouts of in and out of jail, and a list of felonies on my record that now I pay for every day. And eventually I got some help, and I was a Suboxone patient, and that helped me to at least get the time in between me and the drug use to get my head straight, and be able to make some better decisions, and actually have emotions and all that again. And but that that in itself was a long battle and things. And
do you find having a good social group be really helpful?
I think that's one of the most important aspects of getting clean.
There's something very interesting about that, because the test with where they lace the water for rats, and they keep going back to and hitting it until they died. They overdose themselves.
Yeah.
They keep the rats in isolation for those tests.
Well,
But they did further tests where they got the rat addicted to the substance. They put them back into a community of rats, and over time, after a while, they would actually stop going back and trying to get that hit again. So having the social interaction for the social animal seems to work.
Yeah, that's actually what they have based rehab programs on in several countries now. Is they, and you're exactly 100% right. But they've taken people, and instead of just giving them a place to safely do their drugs, which is valuable, if it stops people from dying, it's a valuable thing.
I totally agree with that.
But in some places they've instituted these programs where they get them a job, and they still, they give them their drugs for free every day if they want it twice a day. But they get them a job, and they get them a place to live, and get them on their feet actually doing these things. And they find that when they do that, the people say no, they don't even want the drugs anymore. And it's amazing how, feeling like you're part of a social group, and feeling like you can actually do something with your life makes you not want to do drugs, which destroy your life and kill you.
I'm big on we should decriminalize drug use and treat it as a medical or even psychological issue rather than a crime.
I agree completely. Locking people up does nothing. It does nothing to solve the problem. In fact, what happens is, and this happened to me, these people go to jail and they sit in there and they get clean. And then when they come out and go right back into the same social group, they use again, and they overdose and die. And that's how I overdosed and almost died. Joe, what's worse, a world of drug addiction or a world that is religious? It's the same thing. They're both doing it for endorphin rushes to make themselves feel good about things that they don't want to accept. I mean, I don't think that trying to lie to yourself, or trying to lean on religion as a crutch is good either. I mean, I would rather see, I don't know. I mean, if I don't, that's a tough question. I would have to say, off the top of my head, though, they're both the same. In fact, many drug addicts turn to religion because whenever they get off the drugs, the first thing they find that that gives them that endorphin rush and makes them feel that high that they got from the drugs is religion in some cases. And so many drug addicts will turn to religion.
What are your thoughts about AA? Curious.
So here's my thoughts on religious-based programs in general. AA does try to sidestep it, but I don't think that I don't really like how that program does it. Whatever gets somebody clean and saves their life, though, I'm all for. And
yeah, of course,
the rates are low. I think that AA works for some people, and if it works, do it.
Yeah.
But I also think that there should be better ways to assess someone and find out if AA is something that would be good for them, because I've seen people who lack belief in gods have a lot of trouble with AA. And even whenever they say, well, you can put your higher power in the sun or a doorknob or whatever, like I still see that it's, the program's designed to be religious based. So
yeah, I suspect the success rate with AA is probably, again, based on the social interaction group that you get with it, rather than putting something in a higher power kind of thing.
And that's a very low success rate that AA has. It's not all that great, really, for drugs anyway. If we separate drugs and alcohol, if you keep drugs and alcohol together, though, AA has done a lot. Had a good success rate for alcoholics.
It's actually they actually inflate the numbers, so it's kind of hard to say exactly what their actual success rates are.
I would still stick with secular counseling or programs opposed to a religious based one, because like you said earlier, Joe, you're replacing one addiction with another. In my opinion. Well, but I'm going to try to tackle, even though Daniel asked you that question, I want to try to answer that, at least for me, because it's driving me nuts.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
My head's going to explode. But first off, excluding it, and Sumami has a great point of all the people that religion has killed. But let's exclude that. To me, with somebody that's either addicted to drugs or alcohol, it's an individual-based fight, which drags in families, but it's usually localized and generalized. It doesn't affect everybody in the world. If one person's addicted to something or 100, there's always hits and misses it, where to me, especially when I think of groups like Jehovah's Witnesses, and you can't exclude them from Christianity, they're a sect of it. It's like, no true Scotsman, where, say their policy on no blood transfusion kills thousands of people a year. To me, religious addiction is so more harmful. Not only does it put us behind technically, scientifically, educationally, whereas drug addiction doesn't generally do that or have the same effect. So I would take religious addiction as more harming than drug or alcohol addiction, the short version. And try to be nice, Daniel, but I think you understand where I'm coming from. At least you don't have to agree, but understand that that's where I'm at.
Okay,
I know people out there that just can't wait to the next church meeting because they get to go pray, and that's their whole life. That's not healthy.
According to the American Addiction Center, they're looking at the AA success rate is probably not 5%. It's probably higher, like about 8 to 12%. But the New York Times article will say the AA claims that they have it up to 75% in success rate.
Yeah, and that's what I was actually getting ready to say. I was going to say, if you look at ASAM, the American Society for Addiction Medicine, they support evidence-based programs, which AA is not. And AA has a very low success rate with medicated assisted treatment seems to be the most successful thing, and there's different ways of doing that now without Suboxone, and there's subdermal ways, and there's Vivitrol, which doesn't use any kind of antagonist, and there's so there's and really ASAM it would be the that's what I would refer you to use their numbers, because those numbers are correct. Don't listen to to AA. I mean, don't listen to their numbers anyway on their success rate, because that's not true. They don't have a 75% success rate. But I wonder also what the measurement was of that, because also talking about this drugs and religion thing, let's talk about over time. Immediately, I would say drugs are more harmful, but over the course of time, religion is definitely the most harmful idea humans have ever had.
Well, think about growing up as a kid. What are you told?
And that includes
oh, you're a bad person. You're not a good person. God's going to burn you in hell if you're not behaving. So it starts young, where drugs don't start generally until a little bit later in life, at least when you're
well, I mean, so
your
with
teens
drugs,
at least.
you have the risk of offing yourself, which doesn't there's not really a risk of that, of just becoming religious. So I mean, it depends on, like you were saying, there's a spectrum of religious people, right? So you have people that just believe there's a God and don't practice in any way or whatever, all the way up to your fundamentalist fanatics. So, definitely I would say fanaticism is bad. So,
and Daniel, and I'm not trying to argue or say you're wrong, but that's subjective, subjective.
Yeah.
Was it really God or Jesus that changed somebody's life, or was it really them and giving credit to somebody else?
If it was the whole world believed in a God, but so they didn't press their religion on people who didn't, then I would say make the whole world religious, because if they were all religious, then that'd be good. As far as in dealing with each other, we wouldn't have these wars and all this stuff if it was all the same. But as we see, religion has more bodies than any other cause over the course of history.
Right.
I think wars recently.
Then let's go ahead and do what Tsunami did. Think about all the people that have died and got killed because of religious wars.
Yeah.
The Crusades. There were 7 major crusades and a host of minor crusades. People died from the Inquisition.
The Inquisition.
Granted, the Crusades there wasn't very many people that necessarily died because of the Salem, witch hunt, but people did die because of it.
And
what about the people who died because they don't think they're a good person? They off themselves or kill themselves because they're not good enough for God. And trying to bring God into it is subjective, just for the fact that, was it really God that did it, the idea of God that did it, or the person themselves somehow used that as strength to change their life, which I'm all for. I'm not discounting, what they did, but we cannot say, yep, God's the one that saved them or Jesus did it, because I'm still at the point where answers don't do shit, period.
Yeah. If you believe in a God and it makes you, that's what you need to ground your morals and to be a good person and for you to do your part to make the world a better place, then I encourage you to do it. It's not true
for somebody to be a good person, then do it. I use
just don't
empathy and compassion personally, but if somebody needs God, the Bible, and Jesus to be a better person, all for it.
Don't show up to my kid's science class and tell them that evolution isn't true, or that there was a worldwide flood, things like that. Just don't. When you quit proselytizing and pressing this on children and indoctrinating children into lies, that is harmful, because education is important, and let's talk about things that really happened versus things that didn't. And something that didn't is a flood. And so if you're teaching kids those things, you're just hurting them. You're holding them back in that way. I mean, although that's not the most harmful thing, it's still, believe whatever the hell you want to believe in. Just, don't let people make decisions that are in power based on religion, and don't teach it as fact when it's not. And if there comes a time when they can show that it's a fact that there's a God, or that Jesus even existed, then teach that. But you can say those things are true, but that would be it's the proselytizing that is where the problem lies.
And just for Sumami, I was just generalizing, and I misspoke when I said the Salem. I just was lumping them all in together. But overall, there really wasn't that many. Versus what what the urban legends are.
Yeah. The even if you don't directly link that, I mean, you can say that it was the beliefs of the people that made them think they needed to murder these people. Surely a witch shall die.
And religious-based fear.
Yeah. So there's always even an indirect link. So, but and that's my real thing, is just as long as we're not harming people in the process, purposely lying to kids, like something that hits close to home for me, like literally close to home, is Ken Ham's Boat of Laws. That's right down the road from here, and they all the live long day pack kids into auditoriums and lie to them about geology and history and genetics and a whole number of things. They discredit whole swaths of science, and that's not anything that's ever going to benefit those kids. If anything, it's harmful. And I really hate the indoctrination of children. That's one of the things that really gets to me.
That's what gets to me, that you're a bad person, blah 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 blah, as a kid. But and Daniel, actually, I mean, I'm glad you asked that question, because it gets everybody to think whether we agree or not. I mean, really, that's what the internet's for, is for discussion and discovery. And maybe somebody actually, sitting there thinking, well, I never thought of that. And no matter how they feel or decide they feel, it gives them the opportunity to actually, think about it. So yeah, I'm not criticizing you as a person at all, but that was a great question.
Let me
but
address
I'm still
this.
Right. We got better cookies.
That was a good question. This one isn't. Hypothetically, if science can lead to the conclusion that we're just evolved apes and animals, what if science taught that we shouldn't exist? Should we still teach science, or what if? I mean, you should teach facts, Daniel. And
read the next line too. It's all together. We must have run out of space to type. Sorry.
Should we still teach science no matter what it leads to, as long as you think it's true? We should teach the truth. And what does science lead to? Like, that's you putting
see, that's it. Science don't lead us anywhere.
Where there aren't any. Science doesn't ask that you believe in anything. It doesn't ask that you have faith in anything. All science does is give you information. If you choose to accept it or deny it, it's on you.
I'm not sure how, even with the hypothetical, how we would come to some conclusion that we shouldn't exist.
Yeah, I don't understand that really myself.
The conclusion that we're all just
and this like
hypothetical from apes and animals. That first part.
Yeah, we are an ape. Yeah.
Science doesn't teach by definition should and shouldn't be anyway.
Yeah, I mean, us being apes, us being animals, that's by definition.
Yeah.
So
we are apes.
So even if we were specially created snowflakes by God, we'd still be apes. We'd still be animals by definition.
Yep. Or what? We would still be all of those clades that precede us, because that's how it works. You never outgrow the previous clade. You just form a new one around it, and you're still part of all those other things. We're still all eukaryotes at the end of the day.
Kind of like those Russian dolls.
Yeah, like nested dolls, right? Yeah. Exactly. And in fact, there's a whole thing around nested clades. So I mean, yeah.
And to be honest, if science taught a lot of what the Bible teaches, especially moral wise, which science doesn't really get into that, I would be against it just as much as I would religion, to be honest.
Yeah, science doesn't.
But science, it doesn't start with what they think is right and work their way back to let things fit into it. It goes where the evidence goes time and time again.
Science,
and if at some point they have to change that thinking, they do. That's why, like evolution is a so-called theory, a scientific theory, not what most, theists think, theory means there.
Say anything.
And adapt
I'm
to
sorry.
it.
I keep doing it.
No, you're fine. Just on a roll.
Science doesn't talk about who should and shouldn't exist. That's religion. Do you know how many messages I get from atheists or from theists who are quoting parts of Romans and stuff and telling me that I don't exist as an atheist? Have you seen the treatment that religion gives to the trans community? Science doesn't tell people they don't exist. That's religion.
I'm curious if the truth is insanely harmful. Yeah, absolutely. If it's what's true,
Racism
it should be.
exists. Race does not. Good one, Robin. Sorry, ass.
Oh no, that just what we can't help what truth is. If we don't like the truth, it doesn't change what the truth is, no matter what. Now let's say hypothetically for me, somehow God proves himself to be real. I can't deny the truth of that. Doesn't mean I have to worship him or follow him, but the truth would be the truth. So it can work both ways.
The truth is what the facts are.
Right. Race is just based on superficial, arbitrary features. I mean, it's
right.
Really,
and that's racism is true. Just for the fact that people are racist, it doesn't mean that what they believe is true. But you can't say that racism doesn't exist.
Yeah, of course.
Well, if that makes sense. I don't want to make sense like racism is great. I hate racism, but
it seems to be an education problem.
Right.
Honestly, I mean, it seems to be that racism is carried on by those, by uneducated people, and then on top of that, we have systems in place. Not to get too much into, CRT. But we have systems in place that have prevented Black people from getting good educations by putting them in communities and not allow them to have the same ability to finance homes and these whole areas that still have laws on the books that say Black people can't live there. It's baked into the cake. I mean,
Daniel, that's going to the extremes. I mean, science. I mean, how do you teach against racism if you don't teach what racism is? And it doesn't mean that it's right or wrong. It's just you have to set the foundation and find out why racism
tolerance
is wrong. And racism belief is still true because somebody believes it, not that it's true in itself.
You don't have to teach anything about racism. You have to teach people that everyone's equal and tolerance is a good thing, and that that you teach genetics, you teach biology, you teach
but you still have to teach the racism and why it's wrong and bad. I mean, you can't just keep teaching.
No, I mean, we definitely have a history.
Where did Hitler get all his racism? Where did people thousands of years ago get their racism? It's like it's taught, it's learned, it's seen.
We have a history of racism in our country, so it's definitely a subject that has to be talked about. You can't act like those things didn't happen. If you want to move forward, that is, if your goal is to repeat the mistakes of the past, then go ahead. But if you want to move forward, that's why, even though the Bible was used to promote the slavery in the antebellum South, it's also used to speak out against slavery, because now we know better. Even though the Bible very much promotes slavery, it most certainly does. But one of the things as humans and a social species is there's consequences both personally and to the social group. So whenever we see that those consequences are negative, we learn better and we do better moving forward. And that's why education is so important, because you have to learn the knowledge of those that came before you. If you're to see further than others, you must stand on the shoulders of giants. That's Newton.
Right. And really, not that I agree with Daniel whatsoever, and he knows this, but you definitely would have to commend him for being able to come into an atheist pro room, and ask these questions and dish it out. So yeah, I mean, I disagree with Daniel like totally, but I respect him as a person, even
Yeah,
though
we
he's
like
wrong
Daniel.
and we've got better cookies.
Keep
That's-
coming in and
that's
asking questions. Keep coming in and asking questions. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Because we might not agree,
Yeah.
but somebody else may see it and say, whoa, one side or the other must be right.
yeah. And you know, the asking questions is how you know how you get answers and find out further that education thing we're talking about. If you don't ever ask questions, you may hang on to the same bad ideas. But me personally, I want to know if my ideas are bad so that I can adjust. You know, I want to
I'd have to agree with JJ. There are some truths that are inappropriate, especially for children.
I agree 100%.
I mean,
there are
we know
things that
porn's
you don't
real,
need
we
to
know
teach
sex is
children.
real, but you know, we don't want to teach or show that to our children until they decide down the road to either sneak on mommy and daddy's computer or learn it as an adult. You know, there's a difference between, you know, teaching the truth and teaching it in a way that's harmful.
Well, there's so
Not in my life, it ain't door.
I lie to my
It's
kids and tell them that
it's a fairy tale.
I lie to my kids and tell them that Santa Claus is coming, but I don't, you know.
Yeah, but is that really harmful?
Right, exactly.
To me, that is better than teaching. You know, sorry, Daniel, this is just my opinion. You know this, but to me, it's better than teaching a kid once again that you're bad and you're going to burn in hell. The worst thing with Santa is if you don't behave and you're bad, you get a lump of coal.
The first time that my kids ask me, "Is Santa Claus actually real?" though, I will tell them the truth. You know, and it's not like a, you know, I say, "Oh, Santa's bringing you presents." It's not like we worship Santa Claus or you know, anything like that. You know, it's be good. You know, that's the only thing. It's just it's a way of positive reinforcement, and positive reinforcement is good. So,
Okay, I'm gonna try and attempt to steel man the argument that he's bringing. Let's say
sure.
whatever, or it's really arbitrary, but let's say whatever genetic factors that result in a certain skin color, or is also result in lower mental capacity, and we find out scientifically that that's absolutely the case. It's, well, that wouldn't necessarily mean you know, we're better, they're worse, or whatever. It would just be one factor, and that would just mean that we can and then use that knowledge to improve their ability to learn by working with them at that level.
You're
rather
exactly
than having
right.
to force them into some situation where they can't operate in that on other levels. So we can work with them so they actually would be better off that way by having that knowledge.
I agree. I get great answer. Yeah, I would say that, and Daniel here again, like it seems that you all agree that not everything should be taught, even if it's true. Well, there's no point in teaching children about things that don't apply to them. Like at least there's priorities in the order that you teach things, right? Like it would do no good for us to teach brain surgery to 5-year-olds, right? Because they're not going to do brain surgery. They don't have the background before it. So there's like an order of operations here. And, you know, there are some things that it would not be good to teach a kid as a kid because of them being kids. But, you know, like, I'm not saying then lie to them either. You know, there's a difference in not teaching something and then lying about facts. I mean, that's something totally different.
What I did with my son when he was at the age, he came to me and asked me if Santa Claus was real. You know, I said, do you really want the answer or do you want to find out on your own? Because, I mean, he was inquisitive and liked to discover things on his own, and he dropped it. And later on, he come to me and said, Dad, I don't think Santa Claus is real. And I said, you know, and I asked him, how do you come to that conclusion? And then he started questioning like the tooth fairy and, you know, all sorts of other things on his own. Yeah. So you don't have to necessarily even answer it or lie to him, you know, but you don't have to go out of your way to say, and even somebody said, I can't remember, I just seen it, that, you know, they lie by omission, you know, quote unquote.
Yeah.
That, you know,
yeah.
Don't ask me a question, I won't tell you a lie, you know.
It's what your intention is. That's what matters.
let's say all factors were better. Well, even in that case, it's what I said in the example I tried to give. If we knowing which factors and where they're at, it would allow us better to tailor or what we can help them with. And build
Daniel,
from there.
I think you can answer your own. Oh, sorry, Mag.
The truth isn't harmful. People are harmful.
Well, no, Daniel, just think about it. If your wife puts on a pair of pants and says, "Does this make my butt look big?" and if you answer that, honestly, if they didn't look right, does that do harm to your wife?
Yeah.
There
are moral reasons to actually tell untruths. I mean,
right.
Just because something is moral doesn't mean it's true, and just because something is true doesn't mean it's moral. They're not tied together. And again, what if Christianity is actually true? Would you say we should teach it? Well, I mean, if it were true, I wouldn't have any gripe about it, but it's absolutely not.
But there's a difference between teaching if something was true or teaching my kids to follow it. And I've always said, if God came down somehow and proved himself to me, and only he knows if he knows everything, doesn't mean that I would follow or worship him.
Actually, Daniel, I think kids should be taught about Christianity because, but as a sociology class.
I wouldn't stop there. I would say all religions. Why just isolate Christianity?
But I didn't mean limit it to Christianity.
I knew that. I'm just trying to clarify
religion.
I'm of the opinion that any God worth worshiping wouldn't want us to.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good point.
Right.
That's a great point.
What does an all-powerful being need with our worship? And
an ego boost.
Yeah, but. Hey, Robin, what's up?
I just came in here. I just for a minute. I'm getting ready to leave, but I want to jump in here. I wanted to explain something. Okay. What I was trying to say in chat to Daniel is that he asked about should we teach racism? Racism isn't something that falls under science. Yeah. I mean, science can tell us whether that there are more than one race, which it tells us that there is not. I mean, we thought there was, and there's always been racism because people thought there were more races than one, but there actually is not. And genetics is the only reason why we know that to be not true. And so science has actually showed us where we were actually making a mistake in our morality that we should fix now. It's not telling us whether, but only because we know the truth and we know it doesn't exist. But science doesn't say what we should or should not do. It tells us what is or what is closest to reality, and then it points us in a direction and it shows us what's true, and then we should be able to direct our morality off of that. I mean, even if we found out there were 20 races, science would never say we should have racism. Because science is not about that. It's just about showing what actually is.
And this is why we keep Robin around, because she's smarter than us fellers.
I know. All of y'all knew this, it's like it's so hard. I mean, it's not an ought is. They don't do ought in science. It's is. Not or what it appears to be, or that we never know for sure. But
what about
we can? What has the most evidence for it? But we do know through genetics that there are no more than there's no races. We're all one race. Right. I mean, even no matter if you're from China or Mexico or you're black or that's right. There's Homo sapiens, but there's no different races. Our skin color is related to where we migrated to in the world, and so our skin adjusted to allow light. Sunlight in, because we have to have vitamin D to build bones and things. And so if we live in an area where you don't get much sunlight and you have dark skin, you will be very vitamin D deficient. And so you have to have that.
Yeah, it's all very superficial based on.
Yes, that's right.
The genetic level is very minute.
Yeah.
I mean, back
Yeah,
before we even knew it, before we ever knew it, when we said we all bleed red, you know, that's what they used to say back in, they were right. We're all same inside. You know,
Yeah.
we're all same. So that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Okay.
I gotta get off here though.
Robin. All right, bye.
I see Daniel's here, so bye.
Robin, you got a
You're
second?
running from Daniel, Robin.
Oh, I'm waiting. I can wait just a second longer.
Okay, so I just want to clarify. I understand that you think that science has, said that it's one way, but we know that science changes, right? So it's totally possible that our understanding of humans all being one race could change, in the next 10 years, and that science continues to make different discoveries. And now all of a sudden, actually, all the things that Hitler was saying were totally accurate scientifically.
No.
Well, yeah, of course it's possible.
They've already been disqualified.
Daniel. Yeah, Daniel. I mean, science does change sometimes. Okay, but
I'm saying
genetics,
it's possible. It's hypothetically possible.
Well, no, it's not, because we actually have the human genome now. We have ran the human genome. We know for a fact that there is not more than one race. This is not something that can change. We may change tomorrow to find out the age of the Earth or the age of the universe or something like that. But we're not going to change the fact that that there's only one race of humans. Because we have genetics.
Change, especially hypothetically. I mean, it's totally
no, it
possible.
Can't. Unless people start genetically changing, it won't. Now, maybe people will just start mutating to different races. But right now, we're not.
Whoever was doing that experiment, that they were wrong, and we found out some more information about the human genome, and it turned out that there are different races, right?
No, listen.
This has happened a bunch of times in science where
Daniel,
a theory that everybody believed that was correct, and then it turned out that the theory was wrong.
Daniel, you are arguing that racism is something that science would push, when religion is why we have racism, not because of science.
Even if I think if you really study the history of racism, I think you'll find it really is born from Darwinian theory, not
No.
Yes.
No. Racism was developed in the United States because of racism was developed in the United States.
It was in Europe.
Yes.
In the United
States. No, it wasn't.
The idea that some species are more evolved than other species, which comes straight out of Darwinian evolution. Hitler talked about.
No, there is not. No.
Actually,
evolution does not say.
Hold on. Nobody can hear you clearly because there's an echo.
Yeah, one at a time, guys.
Evolution does not say anybody is evolved more. Every organism is evolved as another. They are evolved to be fit.
Evolved more.
That's right.
So we're not. They are than a bacteria.
No, we are just as evolved as we need to be.
We're just differently evolved
until tomorrow.
Maybe if we evolved into if you came back and looked at us in 10,000 years and we could fly, we were like the X-Men and stuff, you wouldn't say that right now we were less evolved than we were in 10,000 years?
Well, being evolved, you're counting as maybe we've had more evolutionary change.
Complexity and evolution are not the same thing.
Yeah, we may have had more evolutionary change, but that doesn't make us more evolved.
You can actually become more complex or less complex, but be more fit to your environment. And that's
but I don't think you're really answering the question. If we come back in 10,000 years, right? No, it's not. If we look at ourselves in 10,000 years and we find that humans can fly, they're super strong, super intelligent, right? Because we've continued to evolve. Would you really say that we were just as evolved now as we were then?
I would say that
we just evolved into something else.
Why would we evolve to fly?
Yeah, it's completely.
Why would we evolve to fly? I mean, that is not something that we.
Yeah, but that's not really the point as to why. I'm just pointing out that more evolved.
So let's take out the flying part and just say we evolved to be better at whatever. I would say that we're more fit to our environment, which doesn't mean that you're more evolved. It just means that you're more fit. for your environment.
But we would never. Why would we evolve to fly?
Well, let's look at it this way. Take the brown furry creatures living in the forest. If you take those brown furry creatures and put them into a snow environment, and they're not going to do as well. But every once in a while, maybe get one that's born with a white fur. That one doesn't do too good in the forest, but move him into the snowy area, he does better because he's more camouflage and all that. Over time, that becomes the entire population. Now you take that population and move them back into the forest, they don't do so good. Which one is more evolved? Because that the white furry creature evolved from
I would
the brown
say
one.
a furry one that could fly and be really close to the sun.
Let's look at the two examples. Again, which were more evolved. Well, the white furry creature that evolved from the brown one, because it can survive in the snow, but can't survive in the forest, or the brown furry one that can survive in the forest but not in the snow.
I would say between those two, neither is. But what if you had one that could survive in both?
Exactly. You just got it. You just answered your question.
It's because of their
I
environment.
understand what you guys are saying, but I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying.
Perfect. Neither is your answer.
Yeah, but what if there's one that could survive in both environments? Is that one more evolved than the other two?
Not necessarily.
It's not more evolved. It's more fit for changing environments.
And so, I mean, that seems like you were talking semantics now.
No.
Daniel, do you think a human...
Go ahead.
Do you think a human is more evolved or a shark?
I think humans are.
Okay.
I mean, I don't really believe
we are,
but
a shark.
Given your frame, right? Given the evolutionary frame, I would say humans are more evolved.
We're both evolved. We're both evolved the same. Sharks actually are as fit for. Sharks are as fit for their environment. In fact, they have been so fit for their environment that they have not changed in millions and millions of years, because they evolved to be fit for their environment to a place to where they didn't have to have any change. They have changed very little over millions of years because they were so fit. So actually, a shark was probably one of the best evolved creatures, millions of years before the rest of us were, because they actually didn't have to change anymore.
Well, that doesn't necessarily follow, right?
Just because you add complexity does not make you more evolved in evolution. It may be in your mind the way you're thinking of it, but that's not the way evolutionary.
But it sounds like you all are saying that nothing can be more evolved than anything else. So when you say that, it's kind of, so
as long as it's fit for its environment, it's evolved as it's evolved as it needs to be.
Can I ask a question,
scale you're trying to hold on. The scale you're trying to put it on is to say that this thing is better because it's more complex, and more complexity doesn't necessarily equal better. That's where the breakdown is.
Are you guys all saying that, you've got abiogenesis, the first life? Are you saying that from that first life, human beings and every other creature on Earth is no more evolved than that very first life that existed?
No, they're more fit. They're not more evolved.
So, Daniel, as humans, we would not have been able to survive at the beginning of time.
Right, being more evolved is not possible.
They have went through more evolutionary change.
Right.
More fit.
Usually what we'll see is we'll see a creature that works in a multitude of environments, and then as it becomes more adapted to a certain environment, makes it specialized to that environment. Now, if that environment changes, that particular thing then gets kiboshed, and then goes back to being more generalized.
So if something is evolving, it's not more evolved. Is that what y'all are telling me?
Nothing is more.
It's just going through more change. Yeah, more change.
But if you add evolvings to something, isn't it more evolved?
If you're counting the steps and making that mean something, then you could say that, but that's not how it works, because things have evolved and then evolved further down the line into back to what they were before. And it's all about environment. We had land dwelling creatures that came from the water, went back to the water as well, came back from the water. There's this and it's just about what environment they're in. It's not that they're more evolved or further, whatever. They're just, they had to be fit. They evolved to fit the environment. That's the only pressure. There is no better or.
Just to clarify, even if human beings like became almost godlike in 10,000 years because we were so strong, so fast, able to fly, all these amazing things that we could do, you wouldn't say that those were more evolved than humans that were like apes? You would say that the level of involvement is exactly
the problem. The problem with your hypothetical is that in order for us to evolve those things, there would have to be environmental pressures to cause that. So you wouldn't be more evolved. You would just be more fit to an environment. The environment would have to not require, but in order to continue to populate, we would have to be fit to the environment. So those things would fit the environment. So we couldn't ever become what you say godlike because there's no need for that. That's
never, of course we could. There's nothing contradictory.
There is actually. There's
why would we become invisible?
About violating the laws of
why
physics.
It doesn't really matter. Of course it's possible. I mean, we have.
We're not going to develop invisibility.
Why does matter? Yeah, actually, the why would does kind of matter because we need to know what or are we adapting to develop, be able to fly or become invisible.
You wouldn't need to know any of that in order for it to be totally possible and happen.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying that we would need that for to develop those features.
Yeah,
Daniel, you're straw manning what selective pressure is. I mean, what pressures we have and what traits we evolve because of those pressures. You're straw manning that with the learning to fly and stuff. We don't have any reason
that you guys are doubling down on a heinous position that human beings are no more evolved than our first ancestors.
You're just because you're wrong. It's not.
We are more complex. We are more complex. We are more. No, it's not. That's not what evolutionary theory teaches. That is more evolved.
In any way.
Better at what?
There is no such thing as more evolved. There's no such thing.
Better at what? I mean, we're better at walking upright. We're better at building guns. We're better at a lot of things. We're not near as good at swimming as a fish. We're not near as good at flying as a bird.
What was our first ancestor good at that we're not?
Climbing trees.
What does that matter?
Climbing trees, yeah. Our first ancestor
that was like a bacteria that.
I thought you meant the first ancestor, like
reproducing. It's all about reproduction.
Yeah, reproduction they would be better at
reproduction.
Reproduction
would beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
We don't have to compare though. It's not. See, it's not a comparison.
Yeah,
it's not a contest.
We don't have to, but the whole point that I'm trying to make is that we can compare, and science.
Yeah, but we don't in science.
We can, but
science doesn't do that.
It categorizes things, right?
Like, I mean, I don't think you don't understand evolution, and maybe I'm sorry, but if you don't understand it, you listen to.
I both grew up believing in evolution, and we're both.
I don't care if you believe in it. Do you understand it?
No, I didn't grow up.
I think I understand it better than any of you guys because you're saying that we're
more
evolved than a first bacteria.
Okay, I don't think you understand it, or you would know that's not what's. All of us are trying to tell you that that's not what evolutionary theory says. Anything about being more evolved.
It doesn't.
If evolutionary theory says that we're evolving, then we're more evolved than the first thing that hadn't evolved at all. I think that's
just evolved more times.
We have more change. We have went through more evolutionary change.
That would be more
that does not mean we're more evolved.
Call it that, but that's not the right terminology. You can call it that if you want, but it's wrong. And we're trying.
How is it wrong?
If the
first
Daniel,
being
I got a question for you.
Let me finish first. One time, and then something else came, and it evolved one time, right? Like the very next thing after the first thing that had no evolved, or no changes, right? Then the next thing would be more evolved by definition because
it had more mutations than the other. That's or more beneficial mutations that were carried on. Yeah, you're saying that more steps in the program equals more evolved. as in further evolved, and it's more evolved is the wrong way to say it. There may be more steps in the evolution from one body form between two body forms than two others. But since we're all within all of those same clades, we're all apes, we're all eukaryotes, there is no more evolved. We just have other mutations that some animals don't. Like,
so I'm curious.
It's all based on the environment.
Yeah. So I'm curious if there was if our ancient ancestor that hadn't gone through any mutations whatsoever was still just reproducing somewhere, and we discovered it, and it was able to keep reproducing without needing to evolve at all, and it was just in this totally safe environment,
then
where
it would violate the theory of evolution.
Well, no, it wouldn't.
Yes.
Evolution works on populations.
And it's continual change.
No, it would not violate. It would not violate the theory of evolution, because all it would need to do would be an environment where there were no pressures on it.
You can't say it wouldn't violate something you don't even understand what you're talking about.
It could not be a single. It could not be a single thing existing.
Let me ask the question.
Evolutionary change works on populations.
Well, Daniel,
not on individuals.
If we found our ancient ancestor.
Well, guys, one at a time. You're losing me.
Hold on. I muted Daniel. Listen. You've asked the question, and we've corrected you. And instead of saying, okay, I see, I understand, it doesn't work that way, you just move on to another question that's built on the first wrong thing you said. So until we can get past this, we don't need to have more questions, because you're not even addressing the fact that we've answered the previous questions.
Okay, well,
but you guys are still,
maybe this will help him understand where he's going wrong. Now, Daniel, what would be the purpose of us evolving to fly? Somebody brought it up in the chat, and I put it up there, that we've already got airplanes, we've got other modes of flying per se. What would be the need to evolve the ability to fly? I know you're just using that for an example, but maybe you'll see that, okay, we have no need to learn how to fly. We have no need
right now. Something might change where all of our technology gets wiped off the map, because
Daniel, you do these extreme ifs or whataboutisms. Well, what about if we all lose our legs tomorrow? It doesn't work that way. Let's deal with the here and the now and the basic concept instead of going to the extremes.
Well, the point of the extreme is just to demonstrate that clearly human beings could be more evolved. And clearly human beings
this is where everybody's telling you there's no such thing as, you don't have to believe what any of us have to believe.
No,
at least try to understand what we're saying. It's like there's no need for more.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying.
More evolved. It's just like, if we all learn to fly, what would be the purpose of flying if we've already got the ability to fly now?
I understand what you're saying. You want to see that I know that I understand what you're saying?
What?
No, it wouldn't be.
I can repeat what you're saying back to you. Do you want to hear it?
It wouldn't be more
You've got
evolved.
an echo, Daniel.
It wouldn't be more evolved. It would be differently evolved.
Right. It's not more evolved. They just evolved differently. There's no such thing as more evolved.
So something that has literally evolved more cannot be more evolved.
Nothing
it sounds more like a
more.
No.
Do you understand we all originate from the same original
Daniel, try using the word adapt might be better. We adapt our environments more or better.
Better adapt.
Yeah,
would be the word, not more.
It seems like it's a
semantic. That's kind of the point I was trying to get to, but
it's not. Though.
So going back to your example of what if they're in an environment where things aren't really changing, well then, and the animal itself isn't going to go through that many changes, because it doesn't really need to. There's no environmental pressure to push any major changes.
See, the reason there is no more to this, though, Daniel, is because they branch off. And while this side over here is evolving, so is this. It never stops. So wherever
it actually does.
There isn't. No, it doesn't.
It does if something is in an environment where there's no pressures.
No,
yes, it does.
Even no such thing. No.
Even in an environment where there's no pressures, there's still going to be some genetic. There's still going to see some genetic mutations and some changes will still occur. It won't. You won't see the major changes like growing wings to fly and all that. You won't see that, but you will see still some changes.
necessarily.
occurring.
Mutations do not
necessarily.
automatically always happen.
Yes,
it's
it does.
totally
Yes,
possible.
actually, they
Yes,
do.
it does. You are wrong.
No, they don't. You guys are
You are
making
And guys,
factually
this is-
wrong.
Just as a PSA, we've got less than 10 minutes before we
Yeah.
switch over
In
to
5
Beck's.
minutes, I'm going to cut and
Yeah,
push
even
the
even,
Okay.
even, between individuals, those like with your offspring, there's something 150 mutations just between you and your parents.
And that
So-
goes for all things
So
that
I'm
we produce.
curious.
There are
I'm curious.
differences from the parent to the child always. Now,
I'm
if
curious.
those are beneficial, they get adopted and carried on. If they're not, they get discarded through the population, not the individual.
So I just want to make sure I understand you guys. Am I still echoing?
No.
Okay. So just to make sure I understand you guys are literally saying that if the very first organism that created all of us, that we all come from, if that organism had been preserved by, like, let's say it was put here by aliens, and those aliens had preserved another one of that organism, and those aliens brought that back for us to look at and been like, okay, this is what you came from. You're saying that we are no more evolved than that organism. Is that correct?
We are just
We would be
adapted
differently. We'd
better
be
to
just
our environment.
yeah. We'd just be
So we're not
differently
more evolved than that
We're
organism.
not
Is that
more
correct?
evolved.
Yeah, there's no
We're
more evolved.
better adapted to our environment.
So an organism that has not evolved one time, we are not more evolved than, even though
If
in
you're
your
doing
view,
it
we've
by
evolved
numbers,
thousands, if not millions of times.
So if you're counting the number
just trying to
of
make sure I'm tracking.
mutations, if you're
That would
counting
be
the
more.
number of, let me finish fucking talking. If you're counting the number of mutations and you want to say that the number makes it more or less, then yes, you could say that.
That's
But
what more means.
as far as complexity, complexity isn't dependent on the number of mutations.
If we were to go by the number of times mutations, and we'd be looking at things like bacteria that exist right now, tsetse flies and all that, that would be more evolved than us.
Yeah,
because they've been through more iterations than we have.
Dragonflies would be one of the most evolved animals on Earth.
Okay,
if you're
you
counting
can be
the
more
number of
evolved.
mutations. If you're counting the number of mutations.
If you're just going by numbers,
what do you think I meant?
Well, you've been equating it to better.
Yeah, you've been equating.
Is it possible that an organism is better than another organism at anything?
No.
No.
At something, yes, but is the organism better? No.
So what if there's an organism that literally can't do anything and has to be fed by other organisms?
Right. Then the other ones are better adapted to the environment than it, and its population will not carry on. So for that organism to continue to survive, no.
That'd be.
So it can be better.
Well, that'd be more like along
it can be better adapted.
That'd be along lines
Or
of
worse,
parasitism or
No.
coevolution.
Aren't there some organisms that are better equipped to survive in different environments, whereas other organisms aren't able to survive in different environments?
Right. Yeah. Fish don't live out of the water.
Right. So if something could live in water and outside of water, couldn't you make the argument that that thing was better adapted overall?
No, it's just adapted to live on both. It's not better. What is better about air or water or both? Like if the population is able to reproduce and continue to survive, then it's better fit in that sense, I guess. But
then yeah, it would be.
But the one that is both isn't necessarily the one that's most fit to populate.
But it is possible to be better fit, is it not?
For an individual environment, yeah.
Or for a species, right?
No.
Like some species.
No.
I mean,
that's what we've talked about the whole time. There isn't a better.
It's not possible for one species to be better fit than any other species, no matter how.
For a particular environment, yes. But overall, no.
What if there's a species that isn't fit for any environment? It just
then it wouldn't exist.
That would die.
Well, let's say it didn't, though.
It never. You can't say it does because that violates evolution.
Let's say it just got really
there would
lucky.
be no species that is completely unfit to survive because that's
possible.
how it works.
Well, if
That's
it
not
survived,
how you understand it to work. It's possible, though.
If it survived, if it survived, then there would be some
So
fitness
so
for that
if
environment
it,
for it to survive in.
the fact that it wouldn't survive says that it's not better then, right?
It's not a matter of, it's not a measure of better. It's the environment. It's the environment. It has not
So
to
if
do with
something,
better or worse.
so if a
It's
species didn't have any benefit, wasn't able to take care of itself and died, you wouldn't say that that was any better or worse, any more fit or unfit
it
than
was
other
less
species?
fit for its environment.
So wouldn't that be like
That's it.
worse?
There isn't a better or worse here. It's not one thing is good and one is bad. There's not a, it's not like with all other things, you know, like with religion, like there isn't a better or worse. It's just more fit, less fit. They either populate and spread their seed and continue, or they don't. There's not, and it's not good or bad. It's just the way it works.
Yeah, I know you're describing the way it works, but if we say more fit is the same thing as better, then it is better, right?
Yeah, if you want to use the wrong
I
terminology, that's
wouldn't
fine.
necessarily say that though.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
I know
still
you wouldn't,
incorrect.
but
That's
It's
I mean,
because
that's
of the
what a lot of
the whole
connotation
thing.
that goes with the word. All right, that's where we
Okay.
got to stop at,
Well,
Daniel.
wait,
Hold on. No. Hold
Oh.
on. I got to stop there because we got to pass it on to the next show. I don't care to hang out in the after show for a few minutes and talk to you guys, but thanks everybody so much for coming, and please like and subscribe. And we do this kind of thing here. This is kind of a normal stream.
I might
here,
have to come
at
back.
least recently.
I might have to come back more often. Then this is
Yeah,
great.
yeah. We
I
talk
love
about this kind of stuff
discussion.
all the time. Yeah. Thank you everybody for coming. Thanks Purple for putting this together. Up next will be What the Beck. I have pinned the link to his channel, to the stream in the chat, so you guys can just click on that and he'll pick up where I've left off. And in fact, I imagine, I don't know what he has planned and stuff, but this conversation, you guys could probably continue it even further if you wanted there. I'm not going to be able to go with you.
Okay.
I have to go wrap some presents.
I gotta take care of some animals. So.
Yeah.
I'll be back when I can.
Hey, Joe, can I say something real quick?
Well, let me. You can have the last word, Daniel. I want to thank Jenny for dropping in, and Robin and Mage. Thanks. Come back and see us, man. And Daniel, as always, I appreciate what it even takes to come in a room full of atheists and talk. So, what do you want to say though, Daniel?
Well, since I get the last word, I just want to say you guys are all obviously wrong, and I'm right. No, I'm just kidding. No, I just want to say I was trying to be quick. That's why I was being a little bit more aggressive, because Robin was about to go, and I have to go to church. So sorry about that. I wasn't trying to stir anything up or anything.
Well, hang out for just a second while I end the stream, okay, Daniel? Don't leave.
Yes.
All right. Cool.
Hang out. But thank you everybody for coming, and I come on every Sunday at 2. I've got links in the description for most of the things we talked about. Come back and see us. I'm always welcoming new voices and things. But you guys get on over and check out what Beck has for you. That promises to be a great show. And thank you so much for coming.